We are live. All right, all right, all right. Welcome in to the Toilets Two Titles podcast, episode number 4. We're coming at you live on the YouTube, Periscope, all that good stuff. We just recorded an episode like 3 days ago where we discussed some Scott Fishbowl stuff. We discussed a rookie mock that we had, and not a rookie mock, an actual rookie draft. Mock season's over for Dynasty, and mock season's just starting for redraft. That's a little bit of a foreshadowing for what we're going to talk about today. But anyway, go back and listen to episode 3. We had a rookie draft that me, Justin, and Nate were in. You guys are going to want to hear about that. The Scott Fishbowl stuff, all that stuff is good. Today's episode isn't as much as a formal episode. Before I get into details about the episode, make sure you follow me on Twitter. You can see down there at Coach Sheps. Justin, who's not on the screen right now because he's doing some things in the background, at JustinFF_. Our sometimes co-host, Nate, at Nate_Dirt19. And the show's at Toilets Two Titles. Make sure you subscribe on Podbean, YouTube, all that stuff, so that you can hear us, listen to us, and see us. All right. So today, what we're going to be doing, we figured this would be a fun time to do a redraft mock. All right, because the Dynasty mock season is over. It's redraft time. So we set this up yesterday. We talked about this. We figured it'd be fun. We'll analyze the mock online. We sent this out on Twitter. The link on for Sleeper. We sent it out on Twitter. We sent it out to some of our league mates. We got this league filled up, so we're going to be analyzing the picks as we go. I believe it's a 12-team. I'm picking from the 7 spot. I think Justin's picking from the 3 or 4 spot. Figured I hate the 7 spot. I don't like being right in the middle. I like being at the beginning or the end, so I get a little bit of a wraparound. So I figured I'm going to torture myself. Not torture myself. I'm going to make myself better by forcing myself to do something I don't like. Here he is. Here's the man right now. Justin, what's cooking?
Hey, how's it going, John?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing very good.
All right, right on. So first off, before we get rolling, I want to thank everybody that jumped in on this mock and appreciate your patience. I'm not a techie guy, so me getting this thing going on the Sleeper app and on StreamYard has been kind of difficult for me this morning. But we're going to get this thing going right now. Let me share the screen here to the viewers.
You Aussie guys, AJ's starting us off, huh?
Yeah.
AJ's in one league with us, the Fictional Fantasy Football League. It's a league I created last year. It's IDP, and we each had to pick a team that we picked a team name of a team from a movie or a TV show. So it's kind of quirky. It's pretty cool though. I like it. I won it last year. I'm the champ.
All right, here we go.
AJ's on the clock. Let's see. It's got to be McCaffrey, right? Got to be McCaffrey. So I think that's the consensus one. I think. Oh, there's wait. This is one QB, right?
Yeah, this is a super flex.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, holy guacamole.
Yeah, no, this is super flex. I mean, I would still definitely go Christian McCaffrey there, but yeah. That Patrick Mahomes isn't as crazy being a super flex.
I think this is Barkley's year. I think Barkley's going to be the number 1 back in football this year, fantasy.
Double eagle timed out. There goes Zeke. And being a super flex, I'm going to go ahead and take a quarterback here just to see what happens with the rest of my team. Because I don't typically take a quarterback even in Superflex in the first round. So I want to see how that goes.
Lamar. I got no Lamar shares. At 7, I was hoping for Lamar or Barkley. I think they're both going to be gone. And then I'm going to be I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But let's see here. Who's your daddy?
I have a feeling that this is my uncle. I just now noticed that name.
There's Barkley. Your uncle's a man.
Yeah, he is.
Shane's in here, huh? Hot dog. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. We got Shane. We got AJ from the Aussie guys.
How do I adjust the positions in Sleeper? I can't even pause it for me.
Right here. Do you see where my cursor is?
Oh, okay. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going Kyler. Let's go for it, man. Let's go Kyler. Eric Armstead, this is my buddy, another Cowboys fan. We're Cowboys fans. We don't see eye to eye on many things Cowboys.
Okay, so it's interesting that we both went quarterback in the first round.
It's super flex, man.
Yeah, but even still, I usually wait. I just wanted to see what this did to my team, but if nobody else is taking quarterback, it kind of concerns me.
Well, I think I think after McCaffrey, Elliott, Barkley, and Kamara, Michael Thomas, I'm not really Cook, Henry, Hopkins. Those aren't guys I'm as sure about. I think Mixon, I think, is going to have a breakout. I think he's going to be a top running back this year, but I feel like I can get this year's Derrick Henry, somewhere like a Nick Chubb. I'm not so much worried about Kareem Hunt, See if it comes back to me. But I want to piggyback off of what I said earlier. What do you think? Oh, I'm up hot dog. Jacobs. I'll take there's my Nick Chubb. Earlier I was saying I think Saquon Barkley I think this is the year, right? Where he's going into year 3 or year 4?
This would be year 3.
Year 3?
I believe so, yeah. Because
I think he's due.
He had a crazy good rookie season, and then he had the injury last year.
I think this is the year where he's gonna play 16. He's gonna have a monster season, because it really hasn't happened yet, and it's gonna happen. Guys like him, they have that year, and then next year he's gonna go into his 4th year and probably demand a contract, and I won't blame him.
Yeah. Now I'm up here.
We should probably be announcing the picks if we're gonna. Maybe I won't put this on Podbean.
Okay. Yeah, this would be difficult for that.
Yeah.
All right. So I really like Miles Sanders this year. I think he has an opportunity to break out. And then I have another running back that I'm really hoping slips back to me in the 3rd round.
Dang, Shane took Dak. Dak's a dude. Dak's gonna have a monster year too.
Yeah, and to get him in the 2nd round in a super flex is pretty crazy.
I don't have any Kyler shares. I don't have any Lamar Jackson shares, and those are 2 guys I would love to get. But right now, the buy window is like non-existent.
Yeah. You didn't already have them in Dynasty. You're paying up.
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of picks in most of my leagues, but even draft, it's even like a really overpaying offer isn't enough. You know what I mean? Oh,
right.
There's Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
There's Josh Allen, huh?
And, Josh Allen and Russell Wilson. So you went back-to-back QB to cover that super flex.
Smart. AJ's a smart fellow.
Yeah. So I wanted Clyde Edwards-Helaire to drop here. I'm really glad he did, but I also wasn't expecting Aaron Jones to drop here. So now I have a debate in my head, but I'm guessing they're not real confident in Aaron Jones being the guy this year for them to go out and get another back in Dillon. So maybe they're just playing for the future in Dillon, and Jones will still have another big season. But so my uncle did message me, and he's an old school fantasy football player. There's not really a way, I don't think, to set this to auto pick after it's already started. But he said that he's out because he doesn't like Superflex.
Gosh darn it, Uncle.
I know.
You're ruining the integrity of our draft here. Well, you know what? I do think Saquon Barkley and Devontae Adams, if he's going to auto pick from here on out, that's not. I mean,
yeah,
that's
great.
It's the later on rounds where you really. So I'm good with that. I don't have any Godwin shares either. Boom. I'm pretty well rounded right now. I got my 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver. I see you locked up. You got 1 quarterback and 2 running backs, so you're pretty. You're set at your backfield.
I like the value of wide receivers later, so I tend to hold on wide receivers and tight ends for that matter. If I don't get one of the top wide receivers or tight ends, then I'll hold.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a different. I don't normally pick from the 7 hole, or I don't have tons of experience there, especially in mocks. I don't really enjoy being in the middle. Um, so I'm kind of doing things a little different. I think I'm trying to go for a well-rounded approach. You know, being that you're right in the middle of the draft, the value's constantly right in the middle. So I'm going to see how this plays out for me.
You know, leg hounds there with Odell Beckham Jr. in the 4th round. I kind of see a bounce back for OBJ and that offense this season. So I think a 4th round pick for a guy that traditionally has gone in the 1st or 2nd round in most drafts over his career is pretty good. And then look at all these teams at the back half of the draft that are holding off on quarterback.
Yeah. Mostert, huh? Hot dog. Mostert went in the 4th. Yeah, I mean, I think Odell, as far as like not just a fantasy guy, somebody who loves football. You know, I coached the position of wide receiver. I played the position of wide receiver. Some of my favorite players of all time were wide receivers. Watching Odell Beckham Jr., it is clear and evident that he is so special. His combination of skills, you know, like the burst, the straight line speed, the hands, the yak, like all of that, you know, is very, very rare. And I don't know if this was an alternate timeline where Odell was a little different, a little better put together, you know, upstairs. He'd be a surefire Hall of Famer, you know?
Absolutely. Yep, he's got the talent.
The talent is above and beyond, you know, again, like I've never seen that combination of skills, you know? He's like Steve Smith Sr. Like Steve Smith Sr. is like an Odell Beckham Jr. light. You know what I mean? And that guy's all
right.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
Steve Smith Sr. is pissed off for greatness.
Yeah, Steve Smith Jr. can actually is an incredible down the field blocker too. That's what I always loved about him and Hines Ward and that grit, you know.
Right, tough as nails.
Yeah, yeah. I don't get that tough as nails sort of feeling from him, you know.
No.
But outside of that, I agree.
Toughness is a choice, you know.
Yeah. Oh damn, there's a quote from a coach right there.
Huh.
All right. See if Breeze has a swan song in him.
2 picks until your turn. I like the notification, Sleeper. I'm hoping that Cam Akers falls to me. I'm up in 2. Shane's got 2 running backs. Who's Your Daddy's got 3 running backs. It's likely Cam Akers falls to me here. Can you put your uncle on auto pick? Can you since you're
I don't think so. I'm not completely sure.
Ooh, Coop. All right. Akers fell to me. I like that. So in the 5th, you know, and then I'm gonna have to get another running back. I'll probably go Ingram a little later on if he slides. Oh dang, Dobbins is still available. Hot. I took Akers over Dobbins. I wouldn't have done that. Let's see if Dobbins will come back to me. Why would Sleeper have Akers ranked above Dobbins? I just assumed seeing Swift go made me assume Dobbins was already gone.
Well, I think a lot of people have less faith in being redraft, especially less faith in
Dobbins
and Malcolm Brown being the guy than they do Ingram. You know what I mean?
No, you know what? I'm always thinking from a dynasty perspective. I had a conversation with my neighbor the other day talking about these rookie running backs. And I'm talking about how much I like Dobbins in Baltimore. And, you know, he kind of brought it to light that, you know, if you look at it in redraft, because I only do like 1 or 2 redraft leagues a year, you know?
Right.
And it's normally by August. That's when I pick. So, it's you got to change your mindset, you know?
Yep. And so right here, the fantasy fan or the football fan right here, Mark Andrews in the 5th round. That's who I wanted to take right there instead of Drew Brees. So I think at Mark Andrews in the 5th is a good value. Cortland Sutton, I like it.
Thank you.
Like I
Sutton,
said, I think there's a lot of good value at wide receivers later on, and he's one of the guys.
I'm feeling pretty good with my makeup right now. I need to go. I need like 2 more running backs just because Akers, he might be a little hot and cold this year.
Yeah, the shark took Chark.
That's who I was kind of going, back and forth between. You said the shark took Chark?
Yeah. Shane the Shark Hallam.
Shane's a dude.
AJ Brown was another great one.
I like
Allen Robinson, man. He's that guy that I like every single season. I underestimate him, and I think dude sucks, and then he tears it up, and usually against me too. So I don't know why I always sleep on him.
Your uncle, 4 running backs.
Yeah. Well, I love running backs too. I'll tell you that. I do love running backs.
They must run in the family. No pun intended.
But for a redraft, I think T.Y. Hilton should have a big year with Phillip Rivers back there. So
your Colts is showing.
Sort of. I've got one.
Hilton. How old is he now?
T.Y. Hilton, he's getting up there. I think he might only have a couple of years left in him. He's had a quietly great career.
Right. Never forget, he showed up in that clown mask, right?
Yeah, to camp?
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I thought it was like to the playoffs, a playoff game or something.
I believe so. Oh, yeah. I do remember that, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Breida?
What about Breida?
What are your thoughts on
him? I hope that he's able to take some better medical trainers with him to his new home.
When he plays, he's such a frustrating player to own because when he plays, he produces. And it's like it's not hot and cold, it's hot. But then, I'll have him. I've had him, in the last 3 years on a few of my teams, and I've been in a position where I had to start him, quite a few times. And he'll come out the gate. Like I'll check 5 minutes into the first, to the first quarter, and he's got 9 points, right? Like 3 receptions, 60 yards. And then I'm like, oh, this is great. And I'll check in the third quarter and nothing. And then I'm looking, there's no medical report on him. And I look, he's not on the sideline. Like he's so frustrating to own, but the talent is there. Like it's clear and evident that cat's talented.
Yeah, but I do like that you can get him late in drafts right now. I mean, it's worth the dart throw later.
Right. I got me Evan Ingram. He's a guy I can't give up on.
Yeah, I got AJ Green here in the 7th round. I'm excited about that. And T.Y. Hilton will turn 31 during the season this year. So he's probably got a few more years in him because he is a smart wide receiver. Like he'll get down at the right time and get out of bounds and save his body. So, I mean, he's hurt a lot, but he's never really injured. So he might have 3 or 4 more years in him.
So how many teams? We got 1 team, 2 teams, 3 teams, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 teams without 2 quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, so this would be the Superflex league to wait on QB.
I guess. Got Keyshawn Vaughn.
Now we want from Shane here since you're talking about it. Let's see if Shane takes one. And now that I said that, he moved his cursor just so I'll be wrong.
Oh, Tyler Boyd.
All right.
Shoot, this is about the point where I take a 3rd quarterback just so, like, in redraft, that's addition by subtraction. If there's this many teams that don't have a 2nd quarterback, I'm taking one, the best one available, to hurt them,
Right.
Like 100%. 100%.
Yeah, and I might consider that, but I kind of need a tight end right here, and I love Hunter Henry. So
he's another guy that I'm waiting. Like I said earlier, I think it's Saquon's year. and I think Saquon's produced more in his career, in his early career than Hunter has. But I do think Hunter Henry, he's due for that. We've kind of only seen glimpses. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's due for that breakout season.
Yep. Double Eagle jumping on your third quarterback idea here.
Smart.
Still only Pat Mahomes for a football fan.
La da 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 da. Wide receivers. We got Judy Ruggs, Darius Slayton. That's who I'm probably targeting. Darius Slayton here. I like Justin Jefferson as well.
There's AJ from the Aussie guys. He took breather there.
There goes Bake Show.
Pretty much know who I want to take here next, so didn't have it pulled up and ready.
All right.
Get that second cold in there.
Ooh, Marlon Mack. All right.
In the 9th round, I think it's okay. He's going to start off better than he'll end the season, but I'll make some moves during the season. I do think Jonathan Taylor is the far better running back there, and I'm excited about that.
Right. All right, I'm up. I'm gonna go Darius Slayton.
I thought you were gonna say Darius Geis there. Geis has already went. Eric, I like that. I like Darius Geis. That's a sneaky good pick.
Geis is a dude. You guys know how I feel about Geis. Every show I've ever been, when I was the host of Dynasty Warzone, I talked about Geis as a college player, and then when I hosted Trifocal Football, I told my love of Geis, and now over here on Toilets to Titles, I still celebrate my love for Geis. I would love to see an 100% healthy Darius Geis. We deserve it. He deserves it.
Yes, definitely.
The Lord gave us Leonard Fournette. We don't get Darius Geis. That's not the LSU back we need. We need a healthy Darius Geis.
Alexander Madison is a guy that I've really been pushing trying to get in my Scott Fishbowl mocks because I'm at the 12 spot, which means I've been getting a lot of Dalvin Cook. So I got to take Madison around 7 or 8 to secure him. Who's
the other running back they got?
Mike Boone.
Yeah, he's another guy to consider. Yep. Anthony Miller.
Eric, need that second quarterback. What are you doing, Eric? Last round. Let's see it. And this auto pick team here, right? They don't have a.
Let's see. There he goes. He goes Tua.
Tua, nice. Okay, I can get with that.
The auto pick didn't even take a
quarterback at all.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna go Zach Moss. Get me some touchdown runs.
Okay.
So I got Moss.
You got a young team. You're still thinking dynasty.
Well, Wentz, Godwin, Chubb, and Ingram. I mean, I'm young, but they're year 4 veterans.
Yeah. Oh man, I think I kind of need some wide receiver help again. Not super stoked about, but PPR. Well, there it is. I'll take Preston.
Preston Williams?
Yep.
I like him too, man. All right, so once this is over, let's keep this open and let's break down our teams a little bit, all right? And then maybe we could talk about whose team besides our own is our favorite.
Well, I'm not completely stoked about my own. Like I said, I don't normally go quarterback first round, even in a super fan.
I love my own team.
You would.
I'm a little bit of a homer, I guess. All right. Aussie guys, AJ. Let's look at his team. This is what so McCaffrey, chalk. Russell Wilson, top 5 quarterback. Josh Allen, with the ability to run, with all those weapons he has. If this was Scott Fish and you lost a point for every incompletion, I don't think it'd be that good, but it's high upside. And then also McCaffrey and Russell Wilson are both such shoo-ins for success. I think it's okay to shoot for the ceiling here. Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, all 3 of those wide receivers, lots of targets. I think, Kupp might be the safest on a week-to-week basis, but A.J. Brown could, going into year 2, he's flashed, that he's very quarterback friendly. Let's see how Tannehill looks this year. That's the one thing that concerns me a little bit. But, those 3 wide receivers, very high upside, a little bit of injury risk in there. Ertz, a little bit of injury risk, but high upside. The fact that he got Ertz after Kittle, Kelsey, Andrews, and Waller, as the 5th tight end, I think that's, stealing. Tariq Cohen, I'm not a big fan of his. But
the PPR does help a little there.
And then Breida's interesting, and Crowder. So why don't you pick? So I'll break down that, and then why don't you break down the next team? Football Fan 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge believer in Baker, but at the same time, I do believe that Cleveland Browns offense has to have a positive regression here. So I do think they're going to bounce back some, and with healthier wide receivers, he could actually do something. And even if he's close to the 4th or 5th round value that he was taken out last season, then this is a great pick in the 9th round to have him paired up with Patty Mahomes. And then Juju set to have a big comeback season with his quarterback back, hopefully, and Mike Evans with a new, more accurate quarterback. I do really enjoy that wide receiver core, but it's almost like all 3 of them are on new teams this year in a way, just because, Juju with his coming from the quarterbacks he had to having been back, and then Mike, like I said, and then now Stephon is with a new team, literally, and then the rookie for Dallas, CeeDee Lamb, is just a talented stud. So I like the wide receiver core. He went young on his starting running backs that likely may not be great early on, so he's going to make a later push. But in a format like this where we only did 10 rounds, he could have easily picked up some vets in the next few rounds to back up those guys, or maybe start in the beginning. So I love it. I really do. I like this team. It's well-rounded and even across the board.
All right, now double eagle. Zeke chalk there. I think, given his offensive line, being good, the wide receivers being great, Dak being very good, and I think the defense getting better. I think the Cowboys, so good defense, teams like that they're going to want to play good defense. They're going to run the ball, even though, probably going to throw the ball 30 to 40 times a game. I think we'll be, have a lead in a lot of games, and Zeke will get a lot of, garbage time points. He'll share them a little bit with Tony Pollard, but I think this might be the first season where Zeke doesn't see a 7-man box on a regular basis, and he's going to feast. Watson, the weapons, DeAndre Hopkins gone. It's definitely going to hurt, but I do think, bringing in David Johnson, a guy who catches the ball out of the backfield, I think that's going to help. He'll get like a lot of dump offs that are going to turn into something. I think Randall Cobb is going to be, solid for them. So, but still, there's no DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm interested to see how good Deshaun Watson does without him. Travis Kelce, chalk. Allen Robinson's a guy who's very underrated. That's a number 1 wide receiver. You're taking him in the 4th, but the reason he's underrated is because his quarterback is terrible. DeAndre Swift, I don't trust Detroit. I don't trust their backfield. I loved Kerryon Johnson coming over. He's, kind of always nicked up. Last year, Bo Scarborough came out of nowhere, succeeded for like 3 weeks, but it's hard to really pinpoint who's the back there on a week-to-week basis. You could say, well, they haven't had a guy like DeAndre Swift, so it's going to be him. But, I thought Kerryon was a dude when he came out. Who cares what I think? But I'm saying that was my opinion. DeAndre Swift is very talented, but they do have talent in the backfield, and they've shown that they can't showcase just one guy. Aaron Rodgers, man, the fact that he went into the sixth, he's lacking. It's interesting. Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers, both very talented, both lack. Aaron Rodgers has a better wide receiver in Davante Adams, but you could say that Deshaun Watson's wide receiver core is more talented than the Packers' wide receiver core. So both quarterbacks are going to have to do a lot with a little. Jarvis Landry, he's like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps taking away, man. PPR, he's a stud. Jared Goff is a guy who should have a bounce back year. Getting a guy who's going to throw the ball 40 times a game in Superflex in the 8th round, is definitely a steal. And then James White's a cat that I always like to have on the end of my bench because he's a flex running back 3, any week. Let's see how he does though without Brady and with Cam now. Speaking of Cam, well, let's talk about that after this draft. We didn't mention that. And then Mike Williams, Allen Robinson and Mike Williams to me are pretty similar. Robinson's a better route runner, but Mike Williams could put up similar numbers. So you got two guys that we're going to be more yardage than receptions, and then Jarvis Landry is your reception guy. So very well-rounded.
Yep. And I think I will go ahead and talk about my team because the more I look at it, the more I actually do enjoy it. Because I think I got a great quarterback combo because you can't go wrong with Drew Brees. He's going to have hopefully his final season this year and have a great season. And then Miles Sanders, like, what's the competition in Philadelphia really? Like, if you name those guys, Boston Scott is not competition for Miles Sanders. He's too explosive. And then I got Marlon Mack to start the season and CEH to end the season. I've got some explosive wide receivers that are, as far as breakouts go, I think all 3 of my starters here at least should definitely have breakout seasons or huge bounce back seasons, depending on the guy. Hunter Henry in the 8th round, I think, is a great value. So I'm pretty happy with my well-rounded team.
Very well-rounded, man. Now the next team. Who's your daddy, your uncle who hates Superflex League? Barkley at 5 is a steal. Davante Adams, stud. Aaron Jones and Melvin Gordon. I think he's pretty well-rounded, a running back right there.
Yeah.
You see how Denver plays out because I really like Philip Lindsay. I think they got Gordon, they drafted Royce Freeman, and even though Royce Freeman was taken higher than Lindsay, he hasn't been able to surpass Lindsay. So now Gordon is going to be paid more than Lindsay, but I don't know if I believe he can surpass him. Lindsay's like he's shot out of the cannon, man. That guy's tough. He runs nasty. Could be similar. He could get the shine. Alongside Melvin Gordon that Austin Eckler did. Cooper, very, very talented wide receiver. Getting him in the 5th is solid. Mark Ingram is solid as a rock. Damian Williams, I think he's going to have his weeks, but I clearly think CEH is the dude there. Higbee came on so strong last year as a tight end. I think that's a great pick. Will Fuller, if he can stay healthy, then that's a high upside on a week-to-week basis. I think, Davante Adams, Cooper, and Fuller is a pretty solid wide receiver core. But, how we talked about the other owner who you think should add running backs later in the draft if there were more rounds, I think this guy, he needs to get a veteran or 2. I'm not sure if Emmanuel Sanders got picked, but that's the type of guy I'd want to, have as my 4th if I got Will Fuller. And then Joe Burrow. So he's got one quarterback. He's going to have to take another one later on if there is, but it's not terrible. Why don't you talk about Shane's team?
Yeah, Manny Sanders was not taken. So Dak Prescott, obviously, nice pick. And then Drew Lock, though, I think is a sneaky good pick. I think he has a real opportunity with those weapons around him. They've built an incredible team around him. So he has everything ahead of him to succeed. So if he doesn't this year, then it's a Drew Lock problem, not a Denver Bronco problem. So
John Elway problem. Dude can't draft quarterbacks.
Right. Who would have thought? But the wide he's built is young, but he drafted them later on. This is, like I said, this is kind of the strategy that I've taken in most of my drafts. You take your first QB in the 2nd round, you try to get one of those top 2 tight ends at some point if you can, and then running back heavy early, and then just hit your wide receivers with that value later on. And that's exactly what he's done. And that's Philip Lindsay down there at the bottom. I know you can't see it here, but as a flex option, if he can get the receiving from Drew Lock, it might be a nice little stack there as well. But Alvin Kamara can't go wrong. So obviously Chris Carson leaves a few questions because of that injury, but everybody keeps saying that he should be ready for week 1. And I know there's a lot of competition in Seattle, but at the same time, he's still the best running back right now. So in that backfield. So I like it. Very good.
It wouldn't be hard for him to grab a guy like DJ Dallas later. Again, there was only one, but I think Shane would pair the two just to make it safe.
Yeah.
Right now, my team, my first Kyler Murray share, I'm going high upside. I'm swinging for the fences there. And then I think swinging for the fences in the first and then coming back in the second and getting a guy who's solid. I think Nick Chubb is one of the safest picks you can get. I know Kareem Hunt is there, but we've seen in today's NFL, look at, Kamara and Ingram. They did it. I think there can be a little bit of a two-headed monster out there, and I think that'll really help the team. It'll help Baker, and it'll help the wide receivers. It'll take some pressure off of them. It'll create one-and-one opportunities for them on the outside. So Nick Chubb, as safe as you can getting him in the second, I'm real happy. Chris Godwin, interested to see how he clicks with Brady, but he is an ascending player. Carson Wentz, if he can stay healthy, I'm happy with him. Cam Akers is a guy who, I like to take a lot of running backs in redraft. As you can see, I took 4 here. He's another guy, high upside, Cortland Sutton. He's safe to me, very similar to Nick Chubb. And now he has Judy on the other side, which is going to make it a little easier for him. I still think he's the alpha there. Jerry Judy was taken with a little higher draft capital than Sutton, but I do think Sutton's the alpha. I think he'll be the wide receiver. Evan Ingram is a guy I've been waiting on for the past few seasons to break out. I'm hoping he could stay healthy this year, and him and Daniel Jones can click. Keyshawn Vaughn is a guy. Everybody, a lot of people are singing the praise of Keyshawn Vaughn this year. They think he's going to break out, in his rookie season with Tom Brady. So I wanted to get myself a share of that. Darius Slayton is a guy, down the stretch last year in New York, he really balled out. So I'm trying not only in Dynasty, but into redraft. I'm trying to get him on as many squads as I can. And then Zach Moss, loved him coming out of Utah. He's another very tough runner, similar to Geis when he came out of LSU. He doesn't have as much burst, but he runs with the same tenacity. And I'm hoping that Chubb and Moss can both be the TD grabbers in their backfields. Guys like Hunt and Singletary, they can go between the 20s. But once they get inside the 20, I'm hoping both of those guys are stealing the touchdown. So I'm pretty happy with my first redraft mock of the year. Yeah,
and this is a young explosive team too. So if they hit, they could be a big boom team. I don't think we want to spend a lot of time on the auto picks here, but I do want to say, I want to touch up on two players that I see here. Austin Eckler, it keeps rising on your ADPs, and I actually really like that. I think he needs to continue to rise. I think he's going to have an incredible year there without Gordon there to take a lot of his opportunity away. And I understand that having a running quarterback doesn't really bode well for you sometimes, but that's just not necessarily the case with Tyrod. So I like his opportunity. And then let me ask you, John, what is the deal? What's the deal with Marvin Jones right now? Like, what has changed about his situation with Detroit that all of a sudden nobody wants him and he's dropping to the 10th round here?
Has there ever been a time where everybody wanted him though?
No, but he always outperforms.
That's the thing. I don't think nothing has changed. I just think he's the type of guy who's just been historically slept on.
Kind of like what I said about me and Allen Robinson earlier, but it's like everybody sleeps on this guy, and he always outperforms his ADP.
I think that's similar to James White. I think James White is like the running back version of Marvin Jones. Both guys are taken, the last 3 rounds, like between 7 and 10. Both guys aren't expected to be running back ones or wide receiver ones, but they consistently give 6 or 7 games a season at least where they are RB1s. You can't beat that. So I think that's how they come. I guess there's just nothing flashy about either of those cats, but having them as your wide receiver 3 or your running back 3, what's more? You can't be any more comfortable than that, because then when you have guys like that, you don't feel bad about making an in-season trade, like trading Mike. Say you got Mike Evans, Marvin Jones, Cooper Kupp, and like Will Fuller, and somebody's wide receiver goes down. It's super flex. You're missing a quarterback, right? Say you got Kyler Murray and Carson Wentz, like I do. Wentz goes down, and then you want to get a guy like Jared Goff or Aaron Rodgers, and you can go ahead and ship Mike Evans, and you don't feel too bad because your floor is high.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. It just always surprises me. I had to touch on that. Do you see anybody in this Dalvin Cook slot here in the 109 and that really stands out?
I think, I'm interested to see how David Johnson looks this year. I think getting him in the third round, if he's the David Johnson of old, is a steal. David Johnson, going from David Johnson to David Montgomery in that 3-round stretch, one of those cats is going to have a big week every week. And I think it's going to be hard to know which one of them to play, though. I don't want to paint myself into a corner where I have the talent, but now I'm screwing up because I'm playing the wrong guy,
Yep.
So that'll be tough. And then Debo and Gallup, I like Gallup, but I don't know if I'd be comfortable with him as my wide receiver 2 right now. I think he's a great wide receiver 3. I think, Samuel and Gallup, I think Samuel, even though taken around later, he might end up being the 2. And then Gallup, a really high, Gallup might become Marvin Jones in a, he might be slept on, but he's just consistent,
Especially when CD catches on.
Right.
In future seasons. And I was going to mention the same thing about Gallup, actually. I don't mind him in the 7th round, but as your wide receiver 2, it's a little risky.
Right.
So and I'm not worried about that Debo injury. If he misses the first 4 weeks, then fine, I'll use him for my playoff push because especially in PPR, I really like it. The value that you're getting at him right now because of the injury.
And go ahead and get you a Brandon Ayuk, a little later to play, while Debo's hurt.
Yeah.
Or, there's other guys bouncing out. The next team is a little interesting, all running backs and wide receivers. So, I don't really think that needs to be broken down. What we can say is Devin Singletary went in the 6th and Zach Moss went in the 10th. So I think that's great value from Moss. Gurley went in the 4th after Leonard Fournette. That's something that, this is the first year we're ever going to see that. And then my buddy Eric Arfston, he took DeAndre Hopkins and Josh Jacobs in the at 111 and 2-2, 2 very good picks. Kenny Galladay, excellent pick. And then Mostert is interesting, but he flashed. It's just a matter of, is he going to get the opportunity for 16 games? Because Shanahan, if your last name is Shanahan, you know how to run a rushing offense and you know how to fill guys in there and let them produce no matter what their name is. So if Mostert gets the bulk of the touches on a weekly basis, that's going to be an excellent pick. But I don't know, I don't even if Mostert isn't hurt, I think they kind of just like to swap backs in and out, and Tevin Coleman is still there. Jet McKinnon is there. So it'll be interesting. Matt Ryan as your first QB at 5'11", I think he was probably biting his fingernails up until that pick, not hoping that somebody would fall. And I think Matt Ryan
he usually goes in the 3rd or 4th round.
and then Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, and now I think that's he's going to have high flying offense. I love me some Terry McLaurin, great pick. Noah Fant, high upside. Gaius Anthony Miller, and then Tua. So
and it doesn't really matter if Mostert starts off injured either because he's got Darius Guice, who in my mind is going to have an incredible season.
As long as he stays healthy.
Exactly. But what I like about this team is every single player, with the exception of maybe Anthony Miller, and I even still like the pick for the way that his team is structured, but every single player on here are guys that I love to watch play football.
Right.
So like if I have this team, it's not as big of a deal to me if I'm winning or losing because I'm just enjoying watching my team play. So
what's better than that? What's better than having your team be successful, but also guys that you like watching?
And if you don't have bragging rights, then that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. The last team. Why don't you break down the last team?
Yeah, definitely, because I love the handle here, the Leg Hounds. I like it. So Joe Mixon, Kenyon Drake. I like the Joe Mixon pick here. I think he's going to have a bounce back season with Joe Burrow. They're going to hand the ball off a lot, but at the same time, we're hoping that Joe Burrow can be a little bit more efficient and effective. Then the Red Rifle. And then Kareem Hunt as your your running back 3. That's sneaky good in the 6th round. So he's going to have a lot of opportunity. They showed it last season. They're gonna still utilize him in a lot of packages. Tevin Coleman could definitely fill in nicely as that number 2 guy to Raheem Mostert. So he's got a solid running back core, especially if Drake can hone in the Drake from last season. Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford, you just got 2 efficiently good guys that should be in really good improved offenses this year. I've already talked about my Odell love at that point. Julian
Right.
Edelman in a PPR, you can never go wrong, and especially now with Cam Newton, which I think we're going to talk about that a little bit when we switch over off of the draft. But even though I don't necessarily like Cam Newton a whole lot, I do think that it's an improvement over Stidham. And one thing that Cam does offer is that he will move the ball. Like, he'll keep drives going with his running and just his football knowledge. So that's always going to bode well for anybody else in the offense, except for maybe N'Keal Harry, but we'll talk about that later. And then Hayden Hurst in the 8th round has a real opportunity to bounce up. He could possibly be that 3rd tight end. Like, every year you've got, like, you had Kelsey and Kittle. You've got your 2 main guys, and then every year there's this 3rd guy that comes out of nowhere, like Mark Andrews last year. I think Hayden Hurst could be that 3rd guy this year in that offense. He is talented, and the only reason he didn't get the opportunity in Baltimore was because of Andrews. So I like it. I like this. This team could be a contender for sure.
Yeah, and then Tevin Coleman, like what we talked about with Shanahan, going 5 rounds after Mostert, you could just as well. Like, you talked about just now, like every year at tight end, there's a guy who kind of breaks out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
We know Tevin Coleman's name, but at the end of this year, he could be the guy that people are taking in the 4th round because he blew up in Shanahan's offense,
Yep.
So this team has high upside for sure.
Yeah, Hayden Hurst, Noah Fant, Blake Jarwin, Jay Sternberger. Those are my 4 tight ends I'm getting in drafts late.
Yeah. Jay Sternberger's a guy I loved, coming out of Texas A&M. Very talented, like him and Dawson Knox were 2 guys that could stretch the field. I think Sternberger's a little more talented than Dawson Knox. I think Dawson Knox is a little more raw, but high upside guys. So that was the first mock of the year. I think we should do this again, at the end of every, so we did this, end of June, we'll probably do it again in July, and then end of August, and
we'll try to do it on a Monday just because I like calling it Monday morning mock.
Man, we got to do it on a Monday.
Hey, so real quick, I want to thank everybody for coming on this mock draft on a short notice. We almost filled it up. It was absolutely awesome. We love the support that you guys have shown us from day one. So we are always going to keep you guys in mind. So and also hit us up if you ever want to be on the show, any one of you. So just wanted to throw that out.
What's the hashtag? Must ask Nate a question.
Must ask Nate a question.
Ask Nate a question. And then when Nate's on the show, I mean, we could ask each other those questions. As long as you use the hashtag, we'll search it before each episode. And, you can ask us the questions, trade polls, anything. If you're doing a mock with your friends and you're trying to fill some spots, reach out to us. We'll share it, just to try to get the community to see it and help you out. If you're looking for a league, if you have an orphan in your league, anything dynasty or fantasy football related that you need help with, tag us and we'll go ahead and we'll share it. So that does it for the mock. It's already 48 minutes. That's crazy. I can't believe we've been on here this long. This isn't an episode that we're going to put on Podbean just because of the fact that there's a lot of dead air because we're looking at so maybe we'll call this like episode 3.5 or I don't know. We'll figure out a name for this or just the mock draft episode. Cam Newton. Going from Carolina, going to New England. Hopefully he's healthy and fresh. I think that's awesome. I love it. I know when Jameis Winston got signed for like $1 million, people were complaining like, why didn't they bring in Cam, or why hasn't Cam signed yet? And it's like, because Cam isn't signing for $1 million. I think Andy Dalton got something small. Yeah. Why not bring in Cam? Well, Cam isn't going to sign for something small. Cam is talented. Cam should start somewhere. He waited. He was patient. Gets a great opportunity. $7.5 million, goes over to New England. He's going to learn under Bill Belichick for at least a season. So you're making $7.5 million. You're getting to play for Bill Belichick. You're backing up. You're kind of stepping in after Tom Brady leaves, which is a little harmful. But I don't think that's going to bother Cam, because I think people aren't. It's not like they ran Tom Brady out of town and the fans are kind of salty and now we're going to hate the next guy, like you saw a little bit when Dak took over for Romo. I think they're looking for somebody to take over the reins. They want somebody to love and to cheer for. And I think Cam's going to get more love than hate for not being Tom Brady. So
Right.
I think, with Edelman, Harry, I think it helps them. I think it helps James White, Sony Michel. I think the offense is going to look very interesting. And that's another team that likes to play defensive football. So defense, run the ball. Defense, run the ball. That's how you win. So
Yeah.
interesting to see what Bill can do with him.
I guess the only one that I don't think it actually like really helps is Harry, just because he's more the downfield guy. I'm not completely sold that that Cam still has that much better accuracy downfield than Stidham does, but I don't think it hurts Harry at all. Just
Right.
like I said, he's going to be moving the ball. So if you're moving the ball, you're keeping your offense out there. Everybody
can do those screens. I think he could do those. He's one of those physical guys where I think you'll see some of that in year two, where just take a step back, bubble screen, and go.
Okay, right on. So what's next? Are we ready? Are we ready to jump into what we're both really excited about, or is there something else on the list that I missed?
That's it, man. Let's talk about the Frankenstank Listener League. Just a little background. It's the Dr. Frankenstank. It's because it was gonna be Dr. Frankenstein, and we're like, we're toilets to titles. We gotta crumb it up a little bit, and Frankenstank. So the reason we went with the name like that is because me and Justin have been in the lab, and we've been kind of throwing things together. We're not trying to do. I'm gonna let you describe this. I'm just gonna throw down the background. We're not trying to just throw shit together and do something different for the sake of doing something different. No, we are trying to methodically put things together so it is fun, it is different, it's exciting, and it's juicy and entertaining. And all of these things that I want this league to be something that people remember, and that afterwards they're like, let's bring some of this into our leagues. Hey, you remember that league that Toilets to Titles did? Remember the Frankenstank style leagues? Let's do a Frankenstank league. So we're putting some pride into this, and we're trying to make something new and fresh and exciting. So that being said, we're not fully hammered out all the details yet, but we do have details, and Justin's going to give those to you.
Okay, so just real quick, I did try to pull up the tab there, and I accidentally exited out. So I'm going to be trying to go off of memory for most of this, but I've got most of it down. So this is going to be a 14-team league, and we're going to split this up into two different divisions. We're going to have one division that are myself, John, and Nate, along with 4 friends from the show that have been big supporters, that have been guests on the show, that will be in our division with us. And then we're going to have 7 listeners in the listeners division. We're going to have, I believe it was 4 teams from each division that make the playoffs. That way we have an 8-team playoff out of 14 to really help everybody have an opportunity to make the playoffs. And
every game matters.
That's right. We are going to lay down a little bit of money on it just to make it interesting. Plus, we're doing it on My Fantasy League, so they've got their entry fee we want to cover. So it will be most likely a $25 fee to enter, but we're going to be giving away a couple of spots to a couple of the listeners. And either John and myself and Nate will chip in and cover that fee, or we might just have 12 on the fee. We don't know yet. We're still hashing out those details, but it's like John said, it's going to be a kind of a Frankenstein league where it's all patched together and work together, and you're building your team little by little. So even the draft is going to be something that you've never really seen before. And to figure out the draft positions isn't something you've ever seen before. We're going to do
most likely, you never know, but we're assuming something that's not been done.
Yeah, well, maybe not exactly like this though, because I have heard of people doing like a rock paper scissors contest for their draft position, which is what we're going to do. But we're only going to have like the 5 or 6 listeners that had to pay to get in. We're going to let them have the rock paper scissors contest first. And then the winner of that rock paper scissors contest will have the option to either choose their draft position 1 through 14 or choose one of the people that are in the other division or the 1 or 2 that get the free entry and screw them with whatever pick they want them to have.
Now, with rock, paper, scissors, what we're going to do is we're going to have a referee. It's going to be me or Justin. And we're going to say, send me rock, papers, or scissors within this 5-minute window. And so one of the listeners will send rock or paper or scissor, and the other listener, boom, and then we'll screen cap it, and that'll be the way. So there's going to be a bracket. So we're going to have to start this like early August. We can really, because again, what he's going to get into, there's a lot of steps. So this league is going to be involved. And that's another reason why I want to throw some money in, because all this work, I want there to feel like reward. It's not going to be a lot of money, but it's still, for all this work, let there be something, that and maybe we could reach out to like some companies that make trophies or whatever and see if we can get something sponsored for the show. But so that's how we're going to do that. But keep going, Justin. I'm sorry.
It's going to be very interactive. That's the idea behind this entire league. The entire season, it's going to be very interactive. So, and we're going to be talking about it on the show as well. So, but those 5 people that are 5 or 6 people that are in that first rock, paper, scissors contest will either have a draft position or they will have screwed somebody else into a draft position. Everybody else that doesn't have a draft position at that point will then have another rock, paper, scissors contest to determine the rest of the order. So continuing the interaction. The draft itself is going to be extremely interesting. So the first 2 rounds are going to be a snake draft. We're going to go from the 101 down to the 114. Then the 114 will have the 201, and then we'll go back to where the 101 now has the 214. But that draft is rookies only. Again, we're building this from the bottom up. In the NFL, you start with your rookies, right, to build your team. So we're starting with the rookies, and we're going to start building our team up. Now, as you get to the end of that second round, we're going to go back over to the 14 spot, and he's going to have the 301. But here's the catch. He cannot take a quarterback. This is a super flex league, but the quarterback is, to use an analogy, the quarterback is kind of like the head of Frankenstein, right? That was John's analogy that he came up with while we were talking about this, and it's great. So we're going to wait on the head. So for round 3, you can select any other player, veteran, any other veteran. So
rookies
are rookies only.
Veteran, and then why we're doing this too is because you pick your draft position. Do you and it's going to flip. So you're not going to have the same position as you would in the rookie draft as you would in the veteran draft or in the quarterback draft. So what do you value? There's going to be 3 different drafts, right? So you are going to have to choose: do I want early rookie? Do I want early veteran? Do I want early quarterback? So, there's going to be some method in here. And also, say you pick 4th, not like your draft pick isn't 4th, but you get to pick 4th where you want to be, and you're like, all right, so the first 2 rookie picks are gone. And I know that that's the last 2 veteran picks. So do I want to do I like the 3rd rookie or, do I want to pick John, Coach Sheps? Do I want to make him pick right in the middle? So every round he's screwed. Or, the guy who got his league entry fee paid for, I had to pay for my entry fee. This guy got in free. I want to screw him because he got in free. So there's going to be like there's a method. We're all mad scientists in this, as cheesy as that might sound. That's the thought process, and that's the philosophy here. Like we're all there's a method to all of our madness.
Right, and something else to remember is that once we swap that draft order and we begin the 3rd round, from there it's snake like normal. It won't flip back around. So from the 3rd round on, it's a snake. But for the 4th round, so the 3rd round was non-quarterback veterans only. The 4th round is veteran quarterbacks only. This is where we're building the head on the body. So the 4th round is veteran quarterbacks only. So that means that if you have the 14th spot in this draft, you're going to get the 14th and 15th rookie off of the board. And then you're going to get the first veteran non-quarterback. And then you're going to get the last choice of veteran quarterbacks. But you could also go boom, boom with quarterback when you get to that 5th round as well. So, it just depends. But if you have the 101 in this format, you're going to get the best rookie off the board. And you're going to get a quarterback later on. So you're probably going Jonathan Taylor or whoever. So you're getting the top rookie off the board. And then you're going to get the 28th rookie off the board. Then you get last option of the non-quarterback veterans. But then you also get the best quarterback. So it's really balancing out as best as we possibly can with this. So it's like John said, what do you value the most? And this is going to be a redraft as well. That's important for everybody to understand. Where your rookies are going to be dart throws later on, more so in this draft than any, because most of these guys that we're going to be taking in the 2nd round for rookies aren't even going to be drafted in a lot of redraft leagues. So it gives you an opportunity to say, hey, I got that guy. So I believed in him. You don't believe me? Look at this this draft I did with these guys over at Toilets and Titles. I actually took this guy. Let's see, what else am I missing here, John?
I think we pretty much. So I think we got, we're an hour in. There's some great details in there. We're still hammering things out, but we're gonna start. Right now to enter for a chance to get in the league. What you need to do is subscribe to the show and share it, and then DM one of either me or Justin, or you could DM the @Toilets to Titles account. I open the message there, so you can always reach out to us. My messages are always open. I got people DMing me all the time, just asking questions about fantasy football or regular football, whatever. That's they're open for you guys. DM us a screen cap of you subscribed. We're writing a list now of all the people who've done that, and then we're going to pick out of there. And then later on, we'll come up with different ways. So you get the idea. We got something fun brewing. Probably by the end of July, maybe between July 25th and the last day of July. I don't know if there's 30 or 31 days in July. We'll start to hammer out who's all in the league, so we could send the invites out by August, and then start the rock or paper scissors tournament. So that's it, man. So we hope you enjoyed the show. This was just going to be a fun Monday morning thing. We threw this together yesterday. We got the mock draft in there. It's redraft. It's super flex. Again, please subscribe to the show. We're not going to release this on Podbean, but we do have a Podbean account. You can get all of our episodes via audio there. We share that on the Toilets Titles account. Me and Justin, we share that stuff on our Twitter account. So, subscribe on YouTube, Podbean, share the show. Right now we're trying to grow this thing, and we really appreciate all your support. I'm Coach Sheps on the Twitter. He's at JustinFF_ on the Twitter. Justin, you got any words to say before we dip, man?
Just as always, man, just love each other. We're all in this together, and we appreciate you. And I look forward to next time. We are going to try to do a second episode this week on Wednesday night. So that's going to be a Scott Fish Bowl episode. Right. That's pretty much all we're going to talk about that night. So I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to it. If any of you are watching this and you want to be on that show and you're in the Scott Fish Bowl, hit us up, because we're going to have a couple of guests on at least, and it's just going to be a lot of fun on a Wednesday night. So
it's going to be a Scott Fish Bowl bonanza. Piggybacking up off of what Justin said, just love each other, man. Happy Pride Month. Everybody stay safe, have fun, reach out to us. We'll be talking to you later on. Take care.